are lots and lots of models of chaplaincy, and I think you've probably exhibited already, Kathy, about 3 different types of chaplaincy all in one that you've managed to pull together, from the listening type service, the befriending type stuff, to the actual overt Christian sharing as well. And that's really good, almost a liturgical stuff as well. I personally think there are 4 models of chaplaincy. Lots of other people have different views as well, but for me, very, very quickly, I think there's a model which I would call missional hospitality. There's a story in scripture, in fact the picture on the screen is an illustration of that, of Abraham welcoming angels, and in welcoming those people who he didn't know were angels at the time into his home, into his family, God was made manifest, God became real. And I do think there is a model of chaplaincy whose prime purpose is to make God real through speaking, through hospitality, through invitation, through being incarnate. All of that is a very distinct missional, evangelistic, I would use, not proselytizing, but evangelistic model of chaplaincy. And we can explore that in more detail. I think there's a model of chaplaincy which I just very simply call the meter of needs. Jesus in Philippians chapter 2 is described as the one who emptied himself and became a servant. And chaplaincy can look differently wherever you go. And obviously, Kathy, when you went to your college, you basically asked, what do you need? And they wanted you to be in the agricultural college and that part of it. And when I started as a chaplain in the school in Leicestershire, I went and said, what would you like me to do for you? What could I possibly do for you? And I really hope they'd say, we want you to come and do RE lessons and assemblies and lead Christian unions, disciple. And actually said, we want you to build relationships with our community, because we've got a really bad relationship with our community. And for 17 years, I was a community chaplain, because that is what they needed. And Jesus, if you look particularly in Luke's gospel, the question he asks most often of the people he meets is, what would you like me to do for you? Story of blind Bartimaeus, not let me tell you about my kingdom, it's what would you like me to do for you? And the lovely Greek in the story of Bartimaeus says, Bartimaeus followed Jesus into Jericho. The Greek word is, he became a disciple of Jesus and walked into Jericho. By meeting the needs of those he met, Jesus made disciples. And I think we can do that. So chaplaincy will look just what it needs to look like, depending on the context you're in. A third model is the expert model, I call it. Romans chapter 12 Paul talks about how if you've got gifts that God has given you, the gift of encouragement, of listening, generosity, then be generous, be an encourager, and so on. And I really think there is a model by which we can go to a college and say, actually, I'm a brilliant, well, you wouldn't be so bold and big-headed, but you could say, I'm a really good knitter, or I'm a really good listener, or I have this qualification. Is it of any use? Or I'm part of a church which has a food bank. I'm part of a church that does really good outreach into the community. Is there any way you would like to place students with us, and we become a placement for students, and we become chaplains through our expertise? It's a possibility, and it's a model. And then the last one, we've already talked about the Emmaus Road idea that pastoral care is a big issue. I've just done a survey of the West Midlands colleges, and I've asked the colleges, what is it you most need at this time? And I've compared that to what the existing chaplains are offering at this time. And the needs nearly all fell within pastoral care. So they were saying, we need someone to help us with our mental health and well-being issues with our students. We need someone to come and do stuff about grief. We are having problems with lots of students self-harming because of what's going on. And then you go to the chaplain and you say, well, are you able to meet these needs? Can you journey alongside these young people? Can you be trained in well-being and mental health first aid and all the rest of it? And can you become this pastoral caring accompanier? And the answer is yes, we will do that, because that's what Jesus did. And that has proven to be the biggest need and also the biggest opportunity, I think. So those are my four very brief outlines of models of chaplaincy, and there will be others as well. So we've talked a bit about why become a chaplain. Kathy's hopefully inspired you there with what it's like to be a chaplain. And I've sort of given you this idea that there are so many different models. There's really no excuse why you shouldn't be a chaplain in a sense. And FE is the neglected area of our education system, and the church has turned its back on it for so long. Now's a really good time to notice FE and to become involved. So